What is up, everybody? Doomwake here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and please let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the video. Today, I am doing some more modern content, as always, and I'm actually playing a deck that I don't think I played on the channel before. I think I may have played this just a very small amount when MH2 first came out, but it's been a while, if at all. I have to go back and check just to make sure, but that is the 4-color Elementals deck. This is a deck that's been relatively popular over the lifespan of MH2 in the modern format, and it is kind of, wax and wane depending on popularity. I think people have been talking about this. Canister was a big proponent of this deck, and he ended up taking, I think it was like a week or a week and a half break, and people were joking that, because Canister wasn't streaming, then nobody was playing the Elementals deck, and then once he started streaming again, everybody started playing the Elementals deck again, which, can't confirm or deny, but, understandably so. He was a very big proponent of this deck, and I can definitely see why, because I've definitely gotten destroyed by this deck multiple times, and when it gets going, it definitely gets going. So let's kind of go over what's going on here. So first and foremost, we are a deck that has only 20 creatures, but they're all elementals, so we get to play Kahira as our companion. I think there's a lot going on here, but basically the gist is Risen Reef, which is a card that says whenever it or another elemental comes into play, you look at the top card. If it's not a land, you draw it, and if it is a land, you can put it into play. It's a May ability, so you can still choose to draw the land if you need the land, or missing a land drop, something like that. But basically, the combination, like what's the goal here? So Risen Reef in combination with the pitch spell, so Solitude and Fury. Solitude and Fury are both very powerful. However, they require you to exile a card from your hand, so they can be card disadvantage. So what we're doing with those is we're playing Risen Reef, which means that when we play one of our Fury or Solitudes, we get the card back that we pitched. So it's sort of card neutrality at that point. On top of the fact that we also have Ephemerate, which can blink the Fury or the Solitude with the Evoke trigger on the stack to have it come back into play, get another trigger, maybe another Risen Reef trigger, but also, more importantly, you get to keep the creature, and then you get to run it back next turn when the Ephemerate comes off of Rebound. So that's kind of the main gist of the deck here, is we're using Risen Reef and Ephemerate to mitigate the downside on Solitude and Fury. We have Omnath and a bunch of fetch lands to have these sort of really busted turns where you get to play Omnath, trigger Risen Reef, maybe put a land into play, trigger Omnath, play another land, trigger Omnath, get more mana to keep going with the Reef. On those turns, when you really get to see how the deck starts ticking, it gets absolutely out of control sometimes. So that's kind of our sort of main core game plan. We got some Mold Drifters to go along with Risen Reef and Ephemerate. Again, another powerful combination. Drawing more cards with Risen Reef, getting to blink the Mold Drifter and draw 4 cards in the turn that you evoke it is pretty busted. And then from there, the rest of the deck is some interaction. We have Prismatic Ending and Lightning Bolt, just sort of the best that is available to this color combination at dealing with, Bolt and Ending mostly here to kill Ragavan and DRC, but Ending also has additional utility, being able to kill Planeswalkers like Wrenn and 6 if that's an issue. So we got that, and then we got some mana acceleration with Utopia Sprawl, which is pretty important because casting Risen Reef as early as possible is really good. Imagine, turn 1 Sprawl, turn 2 Reef, get a card, Fury, pitch a card, get another card back off the Reef, kill your board. That can be a really powerful opening start. And then we have Teferi, which is pretty good. Teferi, just a really good card in the format right now. There's a lot of blue-white control decks. There's a lot of Cascade decks, so Teferi is very good at shutting those down. And then also protecting your creatures from, to make it so that you can go for Ephemerate without the worry of your opponent having a removal spell. So that's kind of cool, too. And then, last but not least, we got some Flamekin Harbingers to sort of tie the room together. It's effectively just more copies of Risen Reef, so you can play Harbinger on turn 2, get a Reef, and then always have Reef on turn 3, because this Reef, I think, is the most important card in the deck. But you also get some utility. You can find a Fury, you can find a Solitude if the situation calls for it. If you're running out of cards, you can get a Mold Drifter, you can find an Omnath, just a bunch of powerful options to go with the Harbingers. Mana base, fairly straightforward. We got our Triumph here to fix our mana. some shock lands, some fetch lands to go with Omnath, and then most importantly, we're a deck that gets to play Cavern of Souls, which is really good right now with the increase in blue-white control. Cavern of Souls is definitely in a good spot in the metagame right now, so pretty excited that we get to play some Cavern of Souls. And then moving on to the sideboard, you can see here we have 4 copies of Force and Negation, and these are here for mostly Cascade, like Living End and Rhinos. Playing from the Rhinos side, I think it's a close matchup. I would probably favor the Rhinos deck very slightly, but if you look at our sideboard, Force and Negation and Engineered Explosives maybe swing the matchup a little bit in the Elemental deck's favor post-board, and an additional copy of Teferi. But mostly here for Cascade. And, there's some other decks that you can bring in Force against, but that's mostly what it's here for. Rest in Peace, Living End, Dredge, Lurrus decks, that kind of stuff. Alpine Moon, Tron, Urza Saga, mainly the name of the game for Alpine Moon. Endurance, good against Living End, good against Mill, that kind of stuff. 4th copy of Teferi, as we mentioned, for Control, for Cascade, and that kind of stuff. Engineered Explosives, mostly here for Rhinos, but you can also bring it in when you need to E on 1 against, DRC. You can bring it in for 0 when you need to kill Saga tokens and that kind of stuff. And then our Cat Beast, Kahira the Orphan Guard, which is our companion. So, that is the deck list. This particular list I actually copied from Bamzing, who beat me in the showcase yesterday, so figured, why not go ahead and start there. I think this is mostly just Canister's list. I didn't actually look at Canister's exact list to see what the differences are, but I think it's mostly about the same. But anyways, that was the sort of little deck tech here. So without further ado, I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 1. Alright, everybody, we are back here for round number 1. And speaking of 1, we have a 1-lander, so we're going to ship this. Okay, so this is Jeskai Triumph on 1, Harbinger on 2 for Risen Reef on 3 if I draw a land. So, I think I'm going to put back one of my interactive spells. I think I'm going to put back the Bolt, because the ending can also pitch to Solitude. I think that makes sense. Let's see what our opponent is up to. Urza's mine. Uh-oh. This matchup cannot be good. Although we do have a use for this Prismatic Ending, of which there are not very many targets in this matchup, so we are certainly going to fire that off. And I'm definitely glad that I kept the ending over the bolts. But this matchup is rough. Okay, that might be a little bit better for us. Drew another Prismatic Ending. So now if I cast Flamekin Harbinger and put a Risen Reef on top, I'm not actually going to be able to play it because that means I'm skipping my land drop, so we're not going to do that. We'll just pass. If they play a Thought-Knot Seer, I'll probably just go Solitude, Pitch Ending, and then Teferi it. Maybe, and then Ephemerate. Maybe I'll pitch Teferi. Alright, they're not playing Thought-Knot Seer. Okay, this is fine. I'm going to get Jeskai Triumph. Rogrin. Now, if they're curving this into Smasher or Thought-Knot Seer, then we get a nice clean 2-for-1 with the Solitude Ephemerate. Did brick on land, but it's fine. We're not doing too bad. Land would have been nice, because I might have wanted to Teferi bounce the Matter Reshaper, but as is, I think we're doing okay. So they're probably going to get a map here. The map can find them Temple, a Tron piece, depending on what they're missing. But yeah, if they cast a Thought-Knot Seer or a Smasher, then we can just Solitude Ephemerate. And at this point, I'm just going to pitch the ending. Most likely. And then we'll even get a card off of the Thought-Knot Seer. They'll take a card, but... Alright, so they're popping the map. Power Plant. Okay. And another map. Okay. Well, that I could just Prismatic Ending, and then I can have Solitude pitch Teferi Ephemerate. I'm going to take this, though. I'm going to wait till they play one more creature. Mole Drifter. Okay, Prismatic ending your map. They'll eventually play a second creature, right? Eventually. The fact that we got to ending 2 maps is pretty big. We're on mono power plants. Let's hope they have Thought-Nuts here and not Karn. Because, well, I mean, I guess even if they have Karn, we have answers to Karn. We can kill it. But I just have nothing? Okay. Sure. I'm okay with that. Just gonna find a land. Or an Omnath. Like, I guess I could put... I mean, I already have a Fury and a Solitude in my hand. Alright, just gonna pass again. Just keep taking 3. I mean, we can't take 3 forever, but I don't want to do anything until I'm gonna start discarding. Take 3 at least one more time. Because I have a feeling they have a Smasher. Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're good. What am I pitching? I still kind of want to pitch to Fairy. Yeah, let's do that. So let's pitch to Fairy. Let's go. Evoke on the stack. Exile the Smasher. Commemorate the Solitude. And then we can exile the Reshaper, get in for 3, go back to 14. So that's gone, that's gone. Maybe I should have kept the Omnath. Or, excuse me, kept the Teferi. Because I can't play Omnath next turn. Alright, no point in casting that. True Utopia Sprawl. Which I guess is good for next turn. I'm going to name Blue, I think. Yeah, I'm going to name Blue. Go. Oh, that turn I probably should have cast the Harbinger to put the Risen Reef on top. And then I go Reef, Fury, pitch Omnath. Okay. Guess I'm kind of glad that I didn't. Because now I kind of want to get a Solitude. Let's see, we draw. I mean, I guess I don't have to... Oh, drew the Reef anyways. Okay, let's do that, I think. Let's take a think here. Fury does not kill Smasher, so that's a little bit annoying. They have 2 cards left. I mean, worst case, I can go Risen Reef, attack for 3, go to 12. They have a 3rd Smasher, I go to 2. Next turn, attack with Solitude, play Flamekin Harbinger, stack the trigger so that I draw the Solitude, and then Solitude pitch Omnath to kill the Smasher. So let's just cast a Reef. Try and hit maybe a land drop here. Well, I haven't played a land yet, so let's actually just put that into my hand. Because then I can fetch a shock land EOT. Because I do kind of want to get a shock land with that. Alright, so we go to 12. I'm not really concerned with their life total for now. I'm really just concerned with ours. No point in casting Fury. I don't think I want a shock to play a Harbinger. Because I can just Harbinger next turn with the Reef in play. And just immediately draw the card that I get with the Harbinger. 7. That's kind of a problem. They have 1 card left. Sure. Okay, it's fine. So we go to 7, fetch to 6. I do have to fetch here because I need to get a shock land. So we're going to be at 6. I want to get another red source, I believe. Yeah. Alright, so we go to 6. It's going to be a little dicey. Ephemerate wouldn't be too bad, because I can go Fury, pitch Ephemerate, kill the Smasher. Lightning Bolt... technically does it, but then I have to go Fury, pitch Harbinger, Bolt, pitch something, and I have nothing left. I could just do that next turn. I can go to 1. I guess I die if they have a Ballista here, but I think I gotta go to 1 here. I can't just, like, discard my entire hand to kill the Smasher. Okay, now we can actually go... Yeah, now I can actually go Cavern on Elemental, cast Harbinger, get Solitude, next turn Omnath and Solitude. Yeah, like this. So we'll get Solitude. We do go to 1. We are dead if they have a Ballista or a third Smasher, but... Again, I don't really think there's much we can do about a third Smasher, regardless. And the Ballista, for that matter. But if we can fade a draw step or two, I think we can get back into this game. Alright, so go to 1. I am at 1 life. What you got, opponent? They have another Always Does? Thought-Knot Seer. Okay. So my guess is they'll take Omnath? Huh. Which is not too bad, because then I can go Fury Pitch Bolt, kill the Thought-Knot Seer, draw a card, and then Solitude Pitch Ending, kill the Smasher. And then we're both basically on empty, but they're at a bajillion life. Yeah, I'm not concerned with their life total. I'm going to kill the Thought-Knot Seer first, because if I draw Omnath, I might want to play that before I make my decision on the Solitude. Or I could just find a basic land and not have to pitch cast the Solitude. Or Cavern. Fetches and shocks don't work, but yeah. Tilt. Okay, so now we can go Kahira to hand, play Strand, attack for 1. And then I'm probably going to pitch the Prismatic Ending, leave the Kahira left over. Yeah, you know, we got to fade a lot of draw steps, but not dead. So there's that, I guess. All right, Solitude, pitch Prismatic Ending. So they go to 26. We're still at 1. I actually probably should have held the Flooded Strand. 1, to conceal information, and 2, it's better if I draw Omnath, because then I can play the fetch and immediately crack it, because I gain 4 off the Omnath. So I should have probably held that fetch. What's this? 6 mana? You drew a Ballista? A Chalice on 3. Okay. Well, notably, this is not an Elemental, so... cannot actually cast that, so we won't. It's a Cat Beast. We draw a Cavern, we can play it. Usually we'll get a Ballista, so we're probably dead. Assume they have the Ballista. Okay, we're dead. Game number 2. Sideboarding here, game number 2 against Eldrazi Tron. I think what I want to do is cut to Fairies for Alpine Moons. I think Alpine Moon is pretty important at stopping Blast Zone. Actually, Bolt's pretty bad too. May I cut Bolts, bring in Forces? I think I want Force for All Is Dust and Karn. Yeah, Force is pretty good, right? Because you have Fury and Solitude to mop up their creatures. And Force is mainly there to protect you against that kind of stuff. I guess I'm worried about the blue card count if we're cutting to Fairy. So maybe we don't want Alpine Moon? I mean, we don't have that many ones, right? So what if I just did something like this? Could even trim an ending for another Teferi. Yeah, I think I like the way this looks. Let's do that. Alright, game number 2 against Electronic Tron. I refuse to call it Eldrazi Tron. We're calling it Electronic Tron. So this is turn 1, Jeskai Triome. If we draw a land, we can Flamekin Harbinger for Reef. I mean, I'm definitely going to keep this, because we have Solitude plus Ephemerate and Reef plus Harbinger. So this hand seems like a pretty easy keep to me. Power Plant. Alright, we'll get our Rogrin Triome. Did not draw land, so there's really no point in casting Flamekin Harbinger, because I kind of just need to draw land next turn. So we will elect to not cast Harbinger. See what our opponent's up to. Maybe a Chalice on 1? Excuse me, looks like it. Alrighty. Gonna respond with Solitude Ephemerate, but I'd rather just pitch the Ephemerate. Alright, cool. That was a really good draw. So now we can go blue, green, blue. Cast Zerif. Auto yield to that. Put an Omnath in my hand. Pass the turn. And if they play a Thought-Knots here, we can Solitude, pitch Ephemerate. Hopefully find a land to play the Omnath. Okay, that doesn't really matter. Just pitch the Ephemerate. And then our hand is basically Thought-Knots here proof. What do we got? Another Ephemerate. Well, don't really have much of a use for that. Okay. So my guess is they probably take the other Reef, because we don't have land 4 rolled up. We can always Harbinger for another Solitude if we need to. Alright, they did take the Reef, which makes sense. Do they have Matter Reshaper, the best card in the format? No, they have Warping Whale. Okay. Not the best card in the format. Alright, in a land. We drew a Force of Negation. It's not a land. I guess I can Harbinger. Can Harbinger for a Risen Reef, but then I don't have. I guess I still have Force up because I can pitch an Omnath. And then we go Risen Reef. Yeah, okay, I guess I'll do that. It does kind of suck if I have to cast the Force, but like if I don't play anything and they just have a Battery Shaper, or excuse me, a Smasher or a Thought-Knots here, and I hold up Force, it's like pretty bad for me. So just get a Reef, and then this can just get a Solitude later on. It does stink that we can't cast the Ephemerate, but Ratchet Bomb. I don't think I'm gonna force that. Don't think I'm gonna force that. Alright, so we'll draw the Reef, we'll cast the Reef. See what we got. Found a land, which I will just play. And attack for 1. Alright, so we're not doing too bad. We have Force to protect ourselves from All Is Dust and Karn. And then we could play an Omnath next turn. Could be worse. Could be significantly worse. We're not super low on life. Seems like they're flooding out a bit. Okay, that resolves. Well, they played a Matter Reshaper, so we just lose now, right? That's how that works? I think that's how that works. Or so I've been told. 7. All Is Dust. I'm actually considering letting this resolve, but because I kind of feel like if they're casting that, they might have a second one, and I'd much rather protect the Omnath, but I don't know. I get 2 cards off the Omnath this way, and I think it's good. Alright, so let's play an Omnath. Definitely don't want to play that first because of the Chalice. Let's draw a card first. Teferi. And another Omnath. Okay. So now we can even get into a spot where we Teferi bounce the Chalice. And then potentially set up like Flamekin Harbinger into Solitude and then Ephemerate. So we're chilling over here. I guess now if they have Karn, it kind of stinks. That's also another reason to not cast the Force. Maybe I wasn't supposed to cast Force last turn. Just like don't really care that much about the Reef and the Harbinger. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't hate the play that I made. I guess they're gonna get Sundering Titan. Because they have 8 mana. Yeah, that's kind of tough. Although, it's not that bad if they Titan me, because I still have Omnath, so if I just draw a fetch land, you know, it almost doesn't even matter. They got Torpor Orb. Okay, well I can Teferi that, so that I don't really care about. Okay, so I think what I want to do first... Yeah, let's do it like this. Let's go Misty Rainforest, trigger the Omnath, crack a fetch, trigger the Omnath, play Tef, bounce Orb, Harbinger, get Fury, Fury pitch Omnath, to kill the Karn. Yeah, like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's do this. Let's play Teferi. Bounce the Torpor Orb. Okay. Just drew the Solitude. Well, that's probably just better, right? So now we can just go white, this, hardcast Solitude. Wait, hold on. No, I want to leave up the Cavern. Right, I want to leave up the Cavern. Because I might want to cast the Flamekin Harbinger. That's right. Leave up the Cavern. Because I can't cast the Ephemerate anyway, so. They've seen enough. Game number 3. So they have Karn and All Is Dust. I definitely like the Forces. Kind of want the third Prismatic Ending. If I just cut one of these Harbingers, my red count's kind of low if I do that. Guess I'm more concerned with my blue count. I'm just like, I want a more efficient answer to Torpor Orb and Chalice on the draw than Teferi. That's why I want the extra ending. Because on the draw, it's a little bit harder to get to the requisite mana to be able to play Teferi and like also follow it up with other stuff, so I think this makes sense. Okay, so I have Force, I have Solitude, I have Ephemerate, and I have Ending. This hand seems awesome. Keep. Hand seems great. I'm definitely not going to force a map, and I'll just Prismatic Ending it. Alright, they don't have a map. Alright, Flooded Strand, your turn. Get the Triome. They play Chalice, am I going to Ending it? Or am I going to force it? No, because I can just Ending it. Yeah, this is fine. Because even though I don't have a second color of mana to cast the Ending with the Cavern, it still costs 2. It's still mana value of 2. So I can still Ending the Chalice as long as I tap the Cavern. Just want to land. Alright, no such luck. I will kill the Chalice. And then if they play Karn, let's see what they do. Well, actually, they can't play Karn this turn. If they play Thought-Knot Seer, I'll probably Solitude Pitch Ephemerate, because I don't want them taking the Solitude. And then I draw a card, and my hand is Teferi Reef. That I don't care about. You can have a Ratchet Bomb. Alright, we just need a land. We need a land. Alright, go. It's actually not that bad, because now if they have Thought-Knots here, we could potentially Solitude, pitch Ephemerate, and then also cast Ephemerate to keep it in play. Which I probably would do. How many lands are in this deck, by the way? 23? I feel like we keep getting mana screwed. 23, yeah. It's a good number of lands to hit your first 3. I'm not going to fight over that. Can have a map. I'd much rather at this point fight over All's Dust and Karn. Alright, land. Thank you. Alright, let's do I want to lead on Teferi or Risen Reef? I almost want to lead on Teferi and just bounce the Ratchet Bomb to kind of tempo them off the Ratchet Bomb a little bit. Yeah, what if we just did that? I kind of like that play. Kind of like that play a lot. And then also protects the Risen Reef on our turn from Warping Whale. So then if they go for Warping Whale, we can then respond either Force of Negation or potentially Ephemerate it. So we can get a little bit more play to it that way. And that's why it's nice to have the Teferi in play. They got a Mine. They have 5 mana or 6 towards an Eldrazi. I'm not countering the Ratchet Bomb. Okay. Alright, so now let's go Breeding Pool untapped. Let's play Risen Reef. Trigger. Let's put that onto the battlefield. Let's plus Teferi, and I think I'll pass. Playing the Reef this turn because I want to protect it with Ephemerate if they have like a Warping Whale or a Dismember. That's why I'm choosing to play the Reef over Omnath, and then I could just go Omnath, Crack Fetch next turn. Got a Blast Zone. Is it the Dismember? That's not going to work. That's not going to work. And see, that's why it's nice to have Teferi in play. Get another Reef. Now if they kill this one, I probably don't even care about it. Like, I could fight over it, but I just don't really think I need to. Is this a Thought-Knot Seer? Oh, a Smasher. Okay, you can have a Smasher. Let's go here. Attacking Teferi. How much do I care about that? I guess I care about the Teferi. I don't really need the other Ephemerate. This might have been kind of a loosey-goosey play, but once I untap with, you know, Force of Negation and all this stuff, it feels nearly impossible to lose at this point. Alright, so we'll Ephemerate the Reef, get a trigger there. See where we're at. Another Omnath, sure, I'll take it. Plus Tef. Green, white, blue, red. Play Omnath. Oh, look, another Ephemerate. That's cool. Sure, why not? Let's do this. Auto yield. Let's do this. You get a red source. Because I want to cast the Fury. Deal nothing with the Fury, get a Harbinger, and I guess you can go. Your turn. We have All Is Dust covered, we have Removal covered, got basically everything covered. We even have double Force up just in case. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, they've had enough. I saw the writing on the wall. We were going to untap and we were going to go off next turn. So that was cool. I think this matchup is pretty favorable for the Elementals deck. And yeah, I kind of like our addition of Force Negation to the sideboard, because it seems like the cards you care about are mostly All Is Dust and Karn. So 1-0. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 2. All right, everybody, round number 2. Let's see what we are up against. Elementals. And we appear to have a pretty decent hand. I think I'm going to keep this. I think my plan is to go basic forest, sprawl on white, basic island, Kahira on 2, and then this can get red mana, and I can go evoke plus ephemerate on 3, depending on what my opponent does. I think all of that sounds good. Appears that our opponent is back. Alright, I'm just going to get a basic forest. Preserve my left total just in case. Just in case. I think it ends up working out okay. Name white. And this can get island, this can get Sacred Foundry. See what our opponent's got. Or we could just draw a Risen Reef and just play that on turn 2. That'd be nice. Wooded Foothills. Okay. Could be a bunch of things. Okay, let's think I'm just gonna get an island. Yeah, let's go island and Kahira. Could be Footfalls. I think Wooded Foothills, no companion. I think I would want to say Footfalls would be most likely. And it's going to be kind of awkward if they ice my forest. That would be not great for me. Yeah, looks like Footfalls. Okay, that's not good. Yeah, looks like they have the ice. Maybe I'm supposed to hold on to the Sprawl? No, there's no way, right? Yeah, it's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. Alright, my land's tapped. True, a Risen Reef, which would have been a good draw, but we can't cast it. So let's get a red source off of this in case we draw Omnath. Okay. It's a bit awkward. So they have Outburst. Alright, let's get the Rogarin Triome. And let's untap. See what we can find. Teferi Time Raveler. Teferi Time Raveler, huh? So if I play Teferi, they outburst in response. I can bounce a Rhino and try to peel a Solitude or a Fury because I have a Bolt for a red card. So Solitude and Fury are both good draws. If I miss, they get to kill Teferi. Let's say worst case scenario, I miss. They kill Teferi, play a Shardless. Then they have 3 Rhinos and a 2/2. I can bolt the 2/2. Still kind of in a rough spot, but I think I gotta play Teferi here, because this at least forces the issue on the Shardless. Or, excuse me, on the Outburst. Unless they just have Hardcast Force, which... kind of okay if they want to Hardcast Force and not play Rhinos this turn. They might have, like, Outburst plus Pitchcast Force. That's probably worst case scenario for me. Alright, so there's the Outburst, which we assumed was going to happen. I hope they don't also have the Force. Okay, Teferi has resolved, so give me a Solitude or a Fury. Can't cast that. Okay, Hallowed Fountain, go. Not the best. And they certainly could have a Shardless here and just wanted to play the Violent Outburst first. Alright, Teferi is down. Looks like they have the Shardless. Okay, this game got a lot tougher. We're still in pretty good shape if we find a Solitude. Because we can go Solitude, pitch Kahira, Ephemerate it. We can Reef first, too. There it is. Okay, they have 5 cards in their hand. So, let's cast Risen Reef first. Yeah, Risen Reef first. And then we can potentially even find a second Ephemerate. Okay, that one's good. Maybe it's better to cast that one instead of Solitude. Because this one actually trades for a Rhino. And I think I'd rather keep the Kahira than the Bolt. The Bolt literally just doesn't do anything. So let's pitch the Bolt. We can also hold this one up at instant speed too, which is pretty good. So Evoke Trigger on the stack first. 4 damage to the Rhino token. Resolve the Reef Trigger. I'll take an Omnath. So resolve that trigger. Ephemerate the Fury. Resolve this trigger. Kill a Rhino. Maybe another Ephemerate? Okay. Mole Drifter is not exactly what we're looking for. And that, I think, will do it for me. Nice thing is we can actually block with the Fury, and if they have another Shardless agent, we can go, what's the rebound on the stack, hard cast Solitude, exile a Rhino, and then Ephemerate the Solitude that we hard cast. Because we have 5 mana on our upkeep. So even if they have another Shardless, we still should be okay here. Or if they have their own Fury. I actually kind of want them to hardcast Fury here. Because then the Solitude... We take 6, go to 11, but then we hardcast Solitude, exile the Fury, and then Ephemerate resolves, get the Rhino token, and they have a Shardless, and we have, you know, a million cards in our hand. So they're going to pitch Fury. Okay. Interesting they would pitch the Fury here. Kind of leads me to believe they might have another... Cascade spell? Okay, no Ephemerate. I will accept the damage. Okay, no Outburst. It's gotta be a Shardless, right? No? Why did they not... I don't know why they didn't hardcast the Fury. And I assume if they had Outburst, they would have main phased it to get in 2 more damage. I mean, they don't usually play, like, counterspells that aren't Force of Negation, so this Solitude should be good. I think so. I guess they could have a removal spell for the Solitude, but so what, they keep a 2/2, that's fine. I guess if they have removal spell and an Outburst, but I still would assume they would have cast the Outburst by now. Okay, I'm not gonna cast a Fury just to kill a 2/2. I'll just wait. Yeah, maybe they just didn't think that the 2 damage was worth it, and they really wanted to wait until end step. Yeah, okay. Good beats. So we take 10 and go to 1. Just did Eddie Burn spell. Good play by them. It does kind of make sense. Like, on one hand, the damage is pretty important, but also just... you know, not giving up your hand. Also fairly important, like not telling me what they have, kind of thing. Okay. What's our out here? I think our out is Omnath into a fetch land. Right? And then we go, so play Omnath, fetch, go to 5, crack the fetch, go to 4, go to 2, hardcast Fury, kill a Rhino, have 2 blockers for the Shardless and the Rhino. Alternatively, on the board, I could cast Solitude, exile a Rhino, but then I'm still dead on board, because I gain 3 life, go to 4, and this tramples over for 2, plus 2 is 4. So if I cast Solitude, I'm dead on board. Yeah. So, red, green, white, blue, cast Omnath. I think we have to find a fetch land. Temple Garden, huh? Okay, so go to 5, and then, oh, not technically dead, because I can go to 5 and then block a Rhino Solitude. A Rhino go to 3. Okay, it's my out. Dead to almost their entire deck. Dead to Fury, dead to Borrower, dead to Outburst. Yeah, okay, you win. Cool. Opponent played that well. Definitely played that well. Alright, Teferi, Force, Explosives, all coming in. Bolt is bad. I think Prismatic Ending is quite bad too. You just don't want to fight them on a one-for-one basis, because they can actually play a long game pretty well. You know, I have a lot of experience playing the Rhinos deck, and they do play a long game pretty effectively. I think I'm just going to cut one of the Harbingers. Seems hard to cut a Harbinger when you're also cutting Bolt, because your red card count is so low. I guess I could cut a Fury. What's the next worst card? Like, all my cards are just great, right? Maybe Force of Negation is a card I don't want all 4 of? Seems kind of wild, though. I think it actually is the worst card. Generally, like, from the Rhino side, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily anticipate my Elementals opponents to bring in Force against me from the Rhino side. Because, like, the cards that matter are Teferi and Explosives, and Force of Negation doesn't really help fight over those cards. Like, the Elementals deck is really good at being able to kill creatures with Solitude and Fury. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, like, approaching it from, you know, the Rhino side, but... Anywho, that's what I'm going to do. Alright, game number 2. See if we can do a little bit better. Alright, Windswept Heath, Temple Garden. This is a hand that almost certainly can't beat a Blood Moon. Because I can't really afford to get a basic Forest or Plains with my mana situation. I do have Solitude Ephemerate, though. I think I'm supposed to keep this. Just kind of hope they don't Blood Moon me. And this is, so a lot of people ask me from, you know, people, like, when I play Rhinos, people ask me why I bring in Blood Moon against Elementals. And there are just hands like this where you can't afford to play around Blood Moon, you know? And that is going to happen from time to time in your 4-color deck. And that's why I think Blood Moon is just kind of lights out in this matchup sometimes. Like, obviously, when it's bad, it's really bad, but you still Fury to pitch it too, so. I guess there's no reason to fetch right now. Can wait a little bit. Okay. Still have to get blue mana with it, so... Yeah, let's do this. Go. Also, the reason to hold the fetch is if we draw another fetch land, we can play around ice. Because if you... One thing to learn about playing against the Rhinos deck is you really want to hold your fetches. You might take a little bit more damage, but it's way more important to not get time-walked by Fire Ice. Now, obviously, in this situation, didn't have the luxury of not fetching, but... Always something to keep in mind. Okay, my turn. Let's get that Rogarin Triome. Again, we... Oh, I meant to click on the Rogarin Triome. Well, awkward. Looks like we're going to get Fire Iced. I definitely... My mouse has some issues sometimes. We'll blame it on the mouse. It's fine, I'll draw a blue source. I'm going to get iced anyways. I wasn't going to play a spell. It's fine. It's fine. Say I drew a blue source anyways. It's like nothing ever happened. Because I wasn't going to play the Teferi that turn anyways. And honestly, now I can get a Highland if they have Blood Moon. So, it actually kind of worked out pretty well for me. I knew that was going to happen. I knew I was going to get iced, and I knew I was going to draw a Flooded Strand. We'll go with that. Alright, so opponent's going to get the Shardless. We're going to kill their entire board. And we're going to hope that that's good enough. Although now we can play Omnath. Alright, you got some Rhinos. Pitch Ephemerate. Exile your thing. Ephemerate my thing. Exile your thing. Just gonna get a basic. Again, play around Blood Moon. Exile your other thing. So all their things are dead, and we can choose to either play an Omnath or a Teferi. I almost want to play a Teferi here. Although it's a little bit worse if they have Force of Negation, which, given they tanked on the Ephemerate, they definitely could have. Do I want a Risen Reef? No, I want to be more mana efficient, I think so. I play Teferi and they pitch Force, then they Rhinos me. Am I in a good spot? Because then I can go Omnath, Fetchland, Risen Reef. It's kind of close. It's kind of close. I guess the tiebreaker is if they have Blood Moon in hand, I want to get the Omnath down as soon as possible because I don't have a basic forest. I think that's my tiebreaker. Is if I expect them to potentially have Blood Moon, then I kind of want to get this in play before I get Blood Mooned. And it also just uses my mana more efficiently. You know, I mean, I could have played a tap land, but... Alright, so opponent's got a Fury for my Omnath. Sure, can live with that. That was, you know, the card I was a little bit worried about. Because casting Teferi and plussing gets around Fury, but does not get around Force of Negation. What did they pitch? They pitched a Fire Ice. Okay. And we're back in the tank. They have elected to cast Prismari Command. Okie dokie. This... oh, never mind. That was a good draw. Unless they have Dispute, but I think I have to go for it. This is the easiest dispute of your life, right? Please don't have Dispute. Okie dokie. I would like to cast a Teferi. What say you? So they have Outburst. I at least get to kill one of the Rhinos. They have Outburst. Alright, so we're going to get to kill a Rhino. It's not too bad. See what we can find. Another Teferi. Okay. Alright, I'm going to get a basic forest, because again, I want to play around Blood Moon. No, they're fetching in response to my fetch. Okay. You got me. Just going to name Blue, I think. Yeah. Alright, your turn. Teferi's going to go down, and then we can play a second Teferi. Hopefully they don't have a second Outburst. Could have a Shardless here. Seems like they maybe have a Shardless. Yeah. Okay. Shardless is acceptable. We need, like... we need some way to kill a Rhino. Solitude or something like that. Even a Hardcast Fury, which I guess we can't do because I didn't name red. That might have been bad. Oh. Well, that was a really good draw. Let's lead on to Fairy. That one should probably lock it up. Blue, white, this. Cast to Fairy. They can't even dispute me. Plus to Fairy. Play this for 0. Your turn. I think we are chillin'. Think we are a chillin' now. The reason I plussed is because I don't want them to kill the Teferi with Shardless. I assume they probably have to go after Teferi with the Shardless anyways, but we'll see. Alright, Rhino's dead. Teferi takes 2. Fine by me. And then we can start going off with Reef next turn. They have land plus Fury. That might be worst possible for me, because that actually gets to kill Teferi, but looks like maybe a Fire Ice? Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. He discarded a Shardless and a Dead Gone. And don't forget, we got this bad boy over here. So let's go green, blue, plains, cast Risen Reef. It is another copy of Engineered Explosives, which is not too bad. Let's go plus Teferi. I could play an E for 0. I guess Teferi's just going to die anyways. Yeah, I think I'll just let Teferi die this turn. Also, they don't know about the explosives, so they might just kind of walk into it. They might feel like pretty excited to kill Teferi here, not knowing about the second explosives, and then we can just kind of get them pretty good. Just let Teferi die and then pop this for 0. Red, red, green. This has to be a Fury, right? Yeah, okay. So 1 and 3. Fairy. I mean, it's probably one of their best possibles. Certainly better for them than just drawing a Shardless Agent, because that one's a little harder to deal with. And they also get to kill the Risen Reef. Alright, damage happens. Need to draw something good. A Fury of our own would be good. How about a Rogarin Triome? I think I have to hardcast Muldrifter and just try to find Solitude. I guess I could alt-cast. I think it's better for me to hardcast, because that at least is a blocker for one of these creatures. But we do kind of need something good here. Omnath, potentially good next turn, not going to be good this turn. I think we actually have to chump block, right? If I block there, it's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we have to chump block. And also hope they brick. That dispute was backbreaking. That was probably the turning point of this game, when they disputed the Omnath with the treasure. I think we were like 90% to win if they didn't have the dispute, but they did have it. And they drew a Violent Outburst, which is lethal. Seems like they did. They're just having some trouble casting it. Perhaps. Okay, you win. Bit unfortunate. I don't know. I think this matchup is pretty close. Our draws this game were, I don't know, they weren't bad per se. But like that dispute on the Omnath was kind of backbreaking, and yeah, we just kind of didn't draw enough Solitudes and Furies, I guess. So 1-1, and I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 3. Alrighty, YouTube, round number 3 with 4-color elementals. Let's see what we are up against here. Okay, so we got a Fury, a Solitude, a Prismatic Ending, and some lands. I don't think this hand is keepable, because we got a Fury we can't do anything with. We don't have a Risen Reef for access to it. We have a Solitude with no Ephemerate. Yeah, this hand just seems bad. I'm going to ship it. And we've mulliganed into a 1-lander, so I think we're going to go to 5. So let's do that. Yeah, this hand's also not keepable. Alright, to 5 we go. Plains. Windswept Heath, Solitude, Solitude. Think we have to keep this one. I'm going to keep 2 lands, Teferi, Solitude, Solitude probably, because I don't have a red card for the Fury. I think that makes the most sense. This is not a great hand, but I don't really want to go to 4, so we'll keep this. Put back the Drifta and the Fury. I'm going to lead on Windswept Heath, but not crack it, because depending on what land I draw, I might want to get a different land. So we'll wait a little bit on that. Island and a Mox Amber. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but definitely don't know what's going on. Emery Lurker of the Loch, huh? Breeding Pool, Everflowing Chalice, Urza Saga. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what's happening over there. It's kind of not a good draw, because if I get a Reef, I can't actually cast the Reef next turn, so I think I just have to pass. Again, the reason I'm not getting a Rogran Triumph is because if I draw an Island or a Hallowed Fountain, I kind of need to get a green source. I could have went Solitude Pitch on this, but then yeah, God, that's tough. I think I don't mind them getting a Chalice. I think that's okay. I think it's better than just exiling my Solitude. Alright, Chalice, go. And they have access to 3 mana. Yeah, I guess shutting off the Amber would have been good, huh? I should have done that. Okay, so this is going to get blue mana? Yeah, so now we can actually go, what, bounce the Chalice and then Solitude the Emery? I think I like that. So this has to get blue mana, so let's get a Hallowed Fountain. Play Forest, go blue, white, green to Fairy. Bounce this Chalice, because they missed a land drop, so bounce this Chalice. And then now I'm going to Solitude the... Yeah. Now I think it's worth Solituding this, because it cuts them off the Amber mana too. Just cuts them off so much mana. It's a lot worse if they find a land, but I don't know, they missed a land drop last turn. I guess that this is also bad if they have a second Emery, which is, I guess, maybe another argument, but they did not have a land or an Emery. Ooh. It's a good draw if we can find a red source. All right, your turn. Wonder if this deck wants Steam Vents. I guess Windswept Heath couldn't have gotten Steam Vents anyways, so moot point. But would have been nice if I had a Steam Vents instead of this Hallowed Fountain. Alright. Opponent's looking at our top card. Is it a red source? I hope it is. It's a Risen Reef, which is also pretty good. I'll accept that. I will accept that. Let's put it into our hand so we can fetch it. Because this is going to end up getting a red source. Alright, well, looking pretty good against our opponent who missed a bunch of land drops. Alright, they found a Saga, which they can now start casting spells. Might be a little too late, though. Blue 1, this is going to be the Chalice. Okay. You have a Chalice. We got our red source to play Omnath. Ooh, green, white, blue, red. Omnath. So let's do the draw trigger before the reef trigger. I don't know if it actually matters in situations like this. Alright, I'll take a Solitude. Now let's go play a fetch. Let's crack the fetch. Get a Temple Garden untapped. Cast Flamekin Harbinger. This time I will put the Harbinger trigger on the stack before the Reef, because I would like to play a Risen Reef this turn. So I'm going to get another Reef, and then put the Reef into my hand, cast the Reef, get an Omnath into my hand, and a Fury. We can go plus to Fairy. Do I want to try and high roll an Ephemerate? Not really, right? I just hold up Solitude. Not really afraid of too much here. With Solitude in hand, I think we should be okay. I could have bounced the Saga that turn, but then I lose the Teferi, which I think is worse. Cavern of Souls, naming human. So this is almost certainly going to be an Urza, right? Psy Master Thopterist. Okay. We can defeat that. I think I'm just going to exile the... I guess I'll exile the second Omnath. I was going to exile the Kahira, but... might be a little bit more relevant. Alright, so let's exile the second Omnath. And we're going to try and find a Solitude, or Ephemerate here. So let's go kill this thing, resolve the Reef triggers. Sure, I'll put that into play. Gain some life. Do I need more mana? What's the point of getting more mana here? I guess to hold up Bolt? No, I'll just put that in my hand. Okay, so Evoke happens. You get a 1/1, you get a Grinding Station. What else you got? What else you got? Nothing. Okay, untap. Oh, there's no untap step. Opponent's off it. Alright, game number 2. I'm still not really sure what we're playing against. They had Islands, they had Sagas, they had Emrys, they had Grinding Station, Psy. I'm gonna assume that Rest in Peace is probably part of the equation, because Grinding Station usually implies Breach. And maybe Alpine Moon for Saga? I think Force is Possibly Endurance, but like, I don't know if I want to over-sideboard. Lightning Bolt seem not very good, because it doesn't even kill Psy, and it doesn't kill Urza if they have that. Prismatic Ending seem good. I think maybe I can go down to 1 Mole Drifter. I'm not in love with Teferi against them. Could be okay. Maybe like cut a Harbinger, bring in, do 3 Teferis. We can actually cut all the Harbingers if we want, because we're bringing in Alpine Moon for red cards for Fury. I think this looks good, though. I think this is about where I want to be. Let's do this. Alright, game number 2. Against some mono blue stuff. Well, I got a Prismatic Ending and a Rest in Peace. This hand's gotta be good, right? Prismatic Ending, your mana acceleration, Rest in Peace you. Even have a backup ending. We got Solitude just in case things get really hairy. We got it all covered. We got it all covered. Alright, they're on 6. Let's see what we got. I guess we can't Prismatic Ending a turn 1 Emry. I can, however, Prismatic Ending that. And I probably will. They got a Bauble. They're gonna pop it? They are. Okay. What do they know about? They know about the Alpine Moon that we can't cast. But, I mean, that's pretty valuable information to have. That is a good one to know about. They don't know that we can't cast it, but they know that we have it. And they're playing the Saga anyways. They have the Reed. Or they just really want to play their Chalice. Yeah, sure. Oh boy. If we draw a red source, we get to go Ending and Alpine Moon. Jeez. Red source. Red source! Oof. Oof. Ooh, that's tough. Alright, Sacred Foundry or Stomping Ground? Probably Sacred Foundry. Let's go Alpine Moon on Urza's Saga. I guess we just transformed into 4-color Ponza, huh? 4-color Ponza. This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. And opponent agrees. Okay, well, I guess it's pretty good when you just transform into 4-color Ponza post board. Anyways, we're 2-1. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 4. Alrighty, YouTube, back here for round number 4. Let's see if we can keep the 4-color Ponza dream alive. Oh boy. Well, my opponent revealed Kahira. Get your popcorn. We're in for a long one. My hand's pretty good. Whether they're control or the mirror, I assume this is going to be a long match. Roggerin Triome. At least if it's the mirror, we have Sprawl and they don't, so that's kind of cool. Let's just lead on Temple Garden. I want to save the fetches for potential Omnath. Green-white, I'll just name blue. Alright, your turn. Let's see. This could be control or the mirror. Okay, control. How good's our control matchup? That's rough. Okay, that's bad. Wow. Okay, then. Good beats. I mean, we have Cavern, so, I mean, that's certainly one of our best cards in the matchup. That is a beatdown. Am I not supposed to cast the Utopia Sprawl there? I think I am. It's just kind of rough beats. Let's get... I guess I'm not to fetch yet. I'll wait. Okay, let's get a forest. Green, white, blue. Let's go Forest, Plains, Kahira. I'm not going to cast the Muldrifter until I can hardcast it. This is a matchup where you don't really want to pitch cast most of your stuff. You just want to be up on cards as much as possible. Although, I will probably end up having to discard. Cast this Muldrifter. Castle Vantress. Okay, Omnath. Omnath would be a good one. Misty Rainforest. I'm just going to cast this. I really don't care if they counter it. Don't think I really care that much if they counter this. Because I'm not going to Cavern on, Cat or Beast. I have to Cavern on Elemental, obviously. Alright, counter draw. Still not going to expose the Cavern to another potential Spreading Seas, because I think it is my most important land. Even though saving more fetches for Omnath could also be relevant, but I think this is more important. This is Teferi. Okay, you have a Teferi. Are they going to bounce their own Spreading Seas? They are. Understandable. Okay, and they didn't play a land this turn. Worth noting. So let's get a Roggerin Triome. They discarded a Rest in Peace. I mean, they can't cast a counterspell anyways. But we know they have Spreading Seas in their hand. Yeah, I'm just gonna get a... We get a red source here, I guess. No, I think I'd rather fetch the basics now. Because those ones I think I'm less concerned about getting getting spread. Although now, if they spread the Triome, I then can't hardcast Fury. So maybe that was bad. Okay, they're choosing not to cast the Spreading Seas that we know about. Man, this is tough. Okay, so let's go Cavern, Elemental, red, these. Cast Fury, which they can't counter. And then this lets us kill Teferi. And then we even get a good attack in with Muldrifter. And if they have a Shark Typhoon, we could potentially Solitude. I don't know that we want to. Well, actually, if they have a Shark token, I'll probably just Ephemerate this. Yeah, that makes way more sense, right? If they just go cycle Shark Typhoon, I'll just let them block and then Ephemerate. If they're casting Solitude, this is also not bad. Because then we get a good Ephemerate here. Alright, Solitude resolves. See what they target. They target the Fury. Is this them baiting me into casting the Ephemerate and then they can Wrath me? It might be, but I'm going to take my value while I can. This might be a little bit worse than just letting the Fury die and drawing 2 cards, but then they just Wrath anyways, right? They have another Solitude? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Well, that's not the worst exchange. I'm not even going to Solitude their Solitude, because I can just hardcast mine. And it's not like the Solitude has flying, so they can't block. But yeah, I'm not going to cast my Solitude. I'm going to wait till I can hardcast it. Sure. Sure. We knew they had that, so. And they have 4 cards left. This is not the worst position to be in. I find a little bit of gas, but we're doing okay. It's obviously not resolving. I think what I might do is just attack for 2. Take a hit from Solitude and just try to cast this end step. I just try to like get their counter spells out that way. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass. They also might not want to commit mana here because then I get to resolve a Solitude. Yeah, makes sense. But I'm just gonna hardcast my stuff. I'm not gonna do it in combat in case they have a Verdict. Because if they have Verdict, they just let this resolve and then Verdict me. So I think end of turn is a little bit better. But they probably just counter this either way. Sure. Untap. Muldrifter. Am I trading? I kind of want to cast a spell this turn. 2, 3, 4, because that means they can't castle. This is tough. 3 cards in hand. If I want to force them to have a counter... If I want to force them to cast a counter spell, I would want to play Omnath. Muldrifter's like the in-between. They'll probably counter it, but they don't necessarily have to counter it. They kind of do. Let's attack first. I mean, they're just going to take 2, but... Maybe we, like, bait out a Shark Typhoon? I don't know. Omnath is definitely highest upside. I think I'm going to cast Muldrifter, though. Muldrifter's, like, kind of in between. They probably want to counter it, but they don't necessarily have to, you know, as we were saying earlier. 3 blue, Archmage's Charm. Okay. Land go. Your move. So they have 2 cards in hand. Potentially could be another counter spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we actually get to slam both Omnath and Solitude next turn, though, which is nice. Okay, my turn. Oh, that was really good. Okay, let's go Cavern. That was a really good draw. So let's go green, blue, white, red. I'd like to cast Omnath, Locus of Creation. Cannot be countered. Can't do it. Can't and won't. I almost just don't want to cast any of their spells now. Let's attack. Because, like, I have this cavern. I could just go one spell a turn and they just blank their counter spells the entire game. Yeah, I'm just going to pass. I'm just not going to play anything. I'm just going to sit on this cavern. Maybe sitting on the cavern's bad with versus an active castle, but are we gonna get a Shark Typhoon here? Getting a Shark Typhoon with a Solitude would be real nice. Oh yeah, you may have a shark. I would like to kill your shark. Let's get a Hallowed Fountain. Sure. All right, Solitude your shark. I think I gotta take this opportunity to do so. Yeah, this is not great if they have Verdict, but still got like a decent number of cards in the exchange. Okay, no Verdict. They have another Shark Typhoon. It's also a really good draw. All right, let's go. Do I want to expose more to a Verdict? Nah, I'll just attack. I'll just attack. If they're gonna trade, we're gonna let damage happen. Like, I don't know. I feel like they have a Verdict. I don't want to play into it. I'm just gonna pass. This is, I guess, a little bit worse if they have another Shark, because I've lost my my Solitude, but I feel like if they had a Shark, they might have gone for it in combat. Fact or fiction? Okay, I should probably respond to that with Ephemerate. Ugh, if their actual last card is Solitude, it's really bad. They've already gone through 2, though. Alright, I'm gonna do this in response. I feel like if they had Solitude, they would have definitely done it already. But it could be a counterspell. Okay, that's fine. So they have no cards. Fact or fiction is resolving. And they hit 5 spells. Oh, God. Jesus. The old 5-spell FOF, huh? I think the 2 best cards are clearly Teferi and Solitude, so those have to go in separate piles. Step 1. This card is textless, so it's just splitting which one of these 2 is better. I guess Teferi is the best card, right? I think Solitude's the next best card. And then what is the next worst card behind Rest in Peace? Because I'm definitely putting Rest in Peace. I think it's like this. Excuse me, because if they take this pile, they won't necessarily be able to protect the Teferi. So I'm like kind of incentivize them to take the 3. I mean, it's really 2 versus 2 because this card literally has no text. So it's basically a 2 versus 2. Maybe they get, juiced by the fact that there's 3 cards in the pile, but I think they should just take the 2, and they did, which makes sense. They did indeed take the 2, which I expected them to do. So they spread the cavern. Oh, they just drew into the Spreading Seas. It's unfortunate. So we know they have Counterspell and Solitude. Counterspell and Solitude is their hand. Solitude resolves. I'm just going to fetch him Response to get my life. So they have Counterspell as their last card. Can we bait the Counterspell with Ephemerate? I actually think I'd rather bait with the Fury. Red, this. I think I'd rather bait with the Fury, because this is just Ancestral Recall. Counterspell happens. I guess I should attack first. But I definitely want to do the Ephemerate while they're tapped out. For sure. Alright, 21. Ancestral Recall. What do we got? Fury and a Breeding Pool. Sure. Little land, go. Oh, man, this matchup. Okay, we don't know their last card. We don't know either of their cards. They drew a Teferi. Alrighty then. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good card. It's a pretty good card. They bounced my Mole Drifter? What on earth? I mean, sure. I'm with it. I'm here for it. I would not like to cast. So if their last card's a counterspell, I think I'm just going to cast Mole Drifter. 3, 4, 5. Because they clearly don't care about the Mole Drifter, given the fact that they bounced it, so... Let's go red, red, this. Okay. Kill your Solitude, kill your Teferi. They have one card in hand. We still have a Fury left over. We somehow don't have a Kahira because we decided to do that. That was like our turn 4 play, and now it's turn 13. So we have no Kahira left, but, you know, it's fine. How many Ephemerates do we have left? 1? Okay. 6 mana hardcast. This looks like a hardcast shark. Yeah. That's not good. And Kahira. They're tapping too much mana for Kahira. I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter. They have no cards, so. Doesn't matter. Utopia Sprawl. It's not great. Alright, attack for 8. They go to 14. Might as well cast it. Name red. I'm gonna hold the fetch. Omnath purposes. Oh boy, this is a long game. I could have cast the Fury to put lethal in play, but if they have a Wrath, it's really bad, so... Also, they don't know about the Fury, so they might, you know... What the heck is this? This is 8 mana? What on earth? Casting for 8 mana. Oh, just a joke. Okay, I get it. That's the joke. Sure. I get it. I get it. I see. They just wanted to make a bigger shark. And this is going to be the Kahira. Okay. Well, I can attack with the Fury. If they block with the shark, I can actually kill both of their things. Okay. Okay. I can't attack with the Mole Drifter, though. So they block with shark. I Fury their last 2 things. Yep, so we got a damage. Shark takes 6. And then we go red, red, cast. Okay, 2 and 2. And then I think I'm going to Harbinger for a Risen Reef. Yeah, I think I'm going to Harbinger for a Risen Reef. Alright, your turn. Return opponent. I got no cards. Maybe a Reef is bad versus the Shark Typhoon, and I'm supposed to just get... Oh, I have a Solitude left? I think I have 1 Solitude left, right? I have 2 Solitudes left, okay. I guess I could have held it. Let's see what they're doing with their cards. Show game log. Top or bottom? They went both on bottom and drew a Flooded Strand, okay. So, oh, they conceded. They weren't dead, right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, they go to 5. I feel like they had a draw step there. Wow. Did not think I was going to win that game. Woo! Okay. Playing against blue-white control. Teferi's good. We're at 20 minutes into game one, so yeah, this is going to be a long one. I got some editing to do with this one. Rest in peace, no. Force of negation. I feel like the games go so long that you don't want to bring in force. Like, it's just kind of an attrition battle. I actually like endurance quite a bit against control decks, just as a 3-mana flash threat. And Bolt stinks. I guess Ending also stinks, right? Ending kills Teferi, though. Bolt is definitely awful. All these other cards seem fine, I think, right? Am I supposed to bring in Force of Negation? I don't think so. Maybe Force is better than Prismatic Ending, because they both kind of answer Teferi, but Force is more tempo positive, even though it puts me down on cards. So maybe I just want like 3 Force. And maybe got a Harbinger for the 4th Force. Okay, let's try Force. I don't actually know if I want it in this matchup, but this is one of those matchups where you'd have to play a whole bunch to figure out exactly what the configuration would look like. And I just don't have enough experience in this matchup from either side, to be honest with you. Force, Omnath, and a Cavern. Okay, I'll keep. Just keeping any hand with Cavern and Omnath, pretty much. These games are going to go long, and Cavern is one of your most important cards. So we got opponent to 6, and they're on the 61 card special. Also, the nice thing about this hand is we get to play on Fire Ice, because we just got a bunch of fetches, and I don't plan on cracking them, because they did. I think they showed us Fire Ice last game. I believe they did. Yeah, I'm not cracking my fetch. Not happening. I play too much with Fire Ice to know. Just don't crack your fetches. They're going to ice their own land? No, they're going to cycle a Shark Typhoon for 0. Okay, that's fine. If they go for Teferi, I will force it. I kind of want to wait. I want them to wait for one more turn to play the Teferi, so I can hardcast Force. Thank you, opponent. Alright, still not fetching. I refuse to get iced. I refuse to get iced. It's the one thing about playing against control, you know? Is if you just make it so they can't use their mana. Alright, so let's get what fetch shock split do I want to get? Or shock basic split. We have to get 2 blue. So Hallowed Fountain. No. Hallowed Fountain. I guess I can just go Breeding Pool, Sacred Foundry, Island, and then Forest? Sure. So Breeding Pool, Sacred Foundry, Island, and then one of these will go to Forest. Alright, Force your Teferi. And then we get to play Omnath. And I don't even have to expose the Cavern because they don't have any mana up. This is working out swimmingly. Oh, I have to get a Plains. I have to get a White Source. Yeah, I can't get a, Right, that would have been bad if I got a Forest. So, green, white, blue, red, Omnath. Because if I got a Forest, you can't cast Omnath off of Forest Island Breeding Pool. So you can't do that. That's not how the cards work. But now we are ahead on board. I still have a Force. I have an Ephemerate if they go to kill my Omnath next turn. Blue, Spreading Seas? That is totally fine by me. Yeah, you have a Spreading Seas. You have a Spreading Seas. Casting Solitude. Rude. Alright, I guess I'll play my other Omnath. Fine. Take the life back, too. I do have to play my land before my Omnath. Question is, do we think they have Mystical Dispute? Yeah, it's a card they could have brought in, so I'll play the Cavern. So, blue, green, red, white. Let's play another Omnath. Draw a card. Your turn, just in case they have another Solitude. This is going well for us, I would say. I gotta ice my land. Cycle for 0 again? Deal. I think we're ahead. This game might not last as long as I thought it was going to. I mean, I have to imagine the Elementals deck is probably a favorite in this matchup. Just like more of its cards are 2-for-1s than the control decks, and it gets to play Cavern of Souls. Like, I don't know. I imagine the Elemental deck has to be favored. Yeah, and you also have this card. So, reasonable. Alright, play this. Fetch for a Plains. I would like to cast Teferi Time Raveler. Leave up red. And then we'll force their counterspell, and that might just prompt a concession. Three cards in hand, one's a 3-deuce. Alright, they're off it. I'm not surprised by that. Okay, cool. That was not as much as it was 25 minutes. I think that might have actually been shorter than one of our other matches, but in any case, that was at least a long game 1 and then game 2. I mean, they only took 1 mulligan, but our draw was just absurd, so. Anyways, we are 3-1. That's cool. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 5. And we are back for the 5th and final round, Elementals. I think this might be one of my first leagues with Elementals, so we're doing okay. Lurrus of the Dream Den has entered the revealed card zone. Well, I hope they're playing Hammer Time, because that matchup is quite good for Elementals. That being said, our hand is poor, so I'm going to take a mulligan. Man, if this was any other land, I think I have to go to 5. I mean, this is like the perfect hand if the top card of our deck is even just basic forest. I think I have to go to 5. I'll go to 5. Okay. I guess we're going to 4? Sure. Okay, this is our first hand with 2 lands. So, we're going to keep 2 lands, a Divination, and I think probably the Ephemerate, and get rid of all the expensive cards. Okay, well, that's a way to start. We looked at 3 hands, all of which had 1 land. And they are playing Hammer Time, but, you know, when you spot them a game when you mull to 4, you still have to get both sideboard games. Oh, Hammer Time with Ragavan. Interesting. Let's play Hallowed Fountain tapped. You may proceed. Good news is we have Fury Ephemerate, so if we find a red card, maybe we're chilling. I'll take 2. Yeah, I guess they're just playing Hammer Time with Ragavan. Interesting. Can't say I've seen that before. What are we looking for? Not a basic forest. Alright, your turn. Okay, you got a 4/4. They're going to make another token. Just in case they have main deck Needle, I'm just going to fetch a Sacred Foundry tapped. Or I guess I'll get the Rogran Triumph. Sure. I got nothing. I still think we're in maybe an okay shape if we find a red card, because we can double Fury them. Cliffhaven Kitesail? 1 mana artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, attached to a creature you control, equipped creature has flying. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. We have another Saga. And a Thopter. Okay. This is going to be a Lurrus turn. Alright, we need to draw a red card. Don't even know if it's good enough at this point. Drew Solitude. The problem is we don't have a white card to go with the Solitude. So I can evoke a Muldrifter, Because as is on board, I can Solitude a Construct token, but I'm still taking lethal. Because they could just make a Construct token and deal me 9. So as it sits, I am dead on board, even with the Solitude. So what do I have to find off the Muldrifter? I don't really know. Potentially a red card? Okay, does that get me out of it? So I can go Fury these two, well I guess these two, and then Solitude a token? Does that keep me alive? Fury these two, Solitude a token. They're down 2 artifacts. This is a 5/5. And they can make it a 6. So I go to 3. And I have an Omnath in my hand. I don't know if I have any outs at that point, but I guess I'm not dead. Alright, let's go here, here. And you can go. 6, 7, 8. So I'm at 2. I'm at 2, huh? Yeah, I don't even know what my out is, but not even sure what my out is at this point. Now, if I didn't roll the 4, obviously a different story. Like, this matchup is one of those, like, 90-10 matchups in favor of elementals, but, you know, sometimes the 10% is when the elemental stack mulls to 4, and, you know, that's what we did. So, not much we can do about that. So, game number 2. I'm going to bring in Engineered Explosives, and I think that's it. I'm not in love with Teferi against them, but I'm also kind of not in love with Flamekin Harbinger. What if I cut, like, a Muldrifter because it's too slow? Maybe I just cut... No, I want to cut 2 Muldrifters, and then on the play, cut a Flamekin Harbinger for the 4th Teferi. Okay, let's do that. I think I like that. Alright, let's try not to mull the 4 this game, huh? Shall we? I would appreciate not mulling to 4. Alright, I got 2 lands. I got an Explosives, I got a Bolt, I got a Harbinger, and I got a Reef. Okay, I can keep. I think I'm going to lead on Sacred Foundry untapped, so I can bolt whatever their turn 1 play is. I don't want to play the Explosives yet, because I don't know what I want to explode for. Could be 0, could be 1. Esper Sentinel. Okay, let's just untap. So this wants to get a basic island, I believe. So let's just pass. And if they have Ragavan, like if they go land dash Ragavan, then I'll just bolt the Ragavan. If they're just doing this stuff, then I'll probably just Tecatli Honor Guard. I guess I'll bolt that thing. We have successfully found a bolt target. They probably should have attacked first. If they had attacked first, probably still would have taken 1, but... Alright, basic island, bolt this thing. I will pay. That's dead. And let me resize this real quick because it's going to annoy my OCD brain. Alright, we can't Sprawl and Reef, but we can Reef, so let's do that. I'll take that into play. And your turn. Really got to remember to not F8 when I'm playing with Solitude. Because they don't know that I don't have it, you know. They have a hammer. No hammer. Just attack. Okay. Deal. So now we can Fury off of the Harbinger. Let's think this through. I Could also just explosives. Hmm. Interesting. Because they're almost certainly going to get a hammer with the saga, right? Is there a world that I can go Omnath and explosives for 2? I don't think I have enough mana, right? Even if I spike a fetch land, I guess if I spike a fetch land, I would have enough. Right, I go Crack Misty for Forest, tap the 4 lands in play Omnath, spike a fetch off of the Reef/Omnath, so I get 2 looks at it. The problem with that line is if I miss, then it's really bad for me, because then I'm in a spot where I then can't play the explosives. This is difficult. So I think this is going to be a turn where I probably just want to play the explosives on 2. Yeah, so what if we just go Crack a Misty, get a Forest? I think I like doing it this way. And we'll just save this stuff for next turn. We're just going to do explosives plus... This is like a setup turn kind of thing. Play this untapped. Sprawl the basic Forest. And I'm doing this untapped so I can pay a mana. Would love to pay. I'm going to get red mana here. And then I'm going to play explosives for 2. And then I'm going to pass. We'll see what they do. 10 is a little bit low, but should be okay next time we start Omnathing. So we're going to see if they want to activate the Saga first. So they're going to make a token? That's fine, I'll just pop this. Doing this now so they don't get the draw card off of the Paladin, because they would just get a hammer. And I don't want them drawing a card. They got a hammer anyways. Okay. White. Another Sentinel. Okay, well this is probably going to be a turn where we're going to get a Fury. Wish I had another red source, because then I could hardcast the Fury. Because as is, I have to pitch cast the Fury. I think that's fine though, right? We can just go Harbinger for Fury. I could get really greedy and try to spike a fetch land off of the Omnath. That seems so greedy though, because if I miss... Well, that's really bad if I miss. Yeah, I can't do that. Okay, let's just cast this. Let's resolve the Harbinger trigger first. Get a Fury. I will draw the Fury. Let's pitch Omnath. 1, 1, 2. Okay, that happens. See if we can spike the Ephemerate. We'll just put that in our hand. Alright, no Ephemerate, but we can go Kahira, play this tapped, and... No, not like to pay 2 life. Because I could have fetched a basic Plains and played the Kahira that turn. That might have been better. I mean, it is nice to save the Flooded Strand for potential Omnath turns, but... It might have been better to just play the Kahira there. I definitely didn't want a shock for it. Didn't think that was worth it. Alright, Sigarda's Aid. And Paladin. Well, this could be dicey for us. Green, red, this. Can I play around their last card being a hammer? I don't think so. They probably can't play around my last card being a Solitude. We're both probably kind of in the same spot. Yeah, they just have to go for it, right? Okay. Yeah. Man, I feel like I messed this game up. Where did I mess this game up? I bolted the Honor Guard, which I had to do. Then I explosived for 2 to kill the paladin, which I think I had to do. Like, maybe there was a spot where I could have got Omnath down? Not really sure. There might have been a spot where I maybe could have gotten Omnath down. Because this feels like a game I shouldn't have lost. I mean, I drew a lot of lands, but at the same time, like, you know. I have to go back and watch this one. A little late to the party, huh? Little late to the party. And they have a Luris in hand. I overtapped, but doesn't matter. We are donezo. Interesting. They have another hammer. Okay. Another hammer. I'm just like... I'm so baffled that this is where the board state is. I'm really, really trying to figure out where the heck I went wrong. Because I really feel like this is a game I should have won. Like, the turn, I ended up pitching the Omnath to play the Fury, but I thought that was a good Fury turn because I got a pretty clean 3 creatures out of it. I don't know. Just a really tough game, I guess. Opponent played it well. For sure. Opponent definitely played it well. I'm not going to deny that. Alright, I've seen enough. Okay, so 3 and 2, you know, not too bad. Again, I don't play a ton of elementals, so 3 and 2 for a deck that I don't play a ton of is not too bad. Took a loss to Hammer Time, which is obviously your best matchup and the reason to play this deck, but milled the 4 game 1, and then kind of flooded out a little bit game 2, and then the Rhinos lost. That game was, you know, that matchup was a little... not really that close, but our draws were kind of bad. But the other 3 matches we won, you know, not too bad. So Elemental's definitely a powerful deck. It's not that easy to play, though, so definitely would recommend getting in some repetitions. I certainly made a couple mistakes along the way, but it's a learning experience. So anyways, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.